Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Pause up, pet pals. We're back. You're on the Four-Legged Life show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Our second guest is pretty accomplished in the dog world. We're going to get into that more. She's got books. She's helping our dogs have good manners. She's a dog's best friend, which is the name of her company. So please join me in giving pause and applause to the amazing, make that possum, Teoti Anderson. Welcome to the show, Teoti.
Thank you, Arden. I'm so glad to be here.
Woo-hoo-hoo! It's a great new show, and we got a great guest that knows all things DOG. We want to get into a little bit about our adult dogs. And everybody, just to give a little background on Teoti, your company is called A Dog's Best Friend. What a great name. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. We are South Florida's oldest positive dog training company. My husband started the company in 1994, and I joined him when I moved down here, and we got married. And yes, and so we have been pioneering positive training in South Florida for quite some time.
You better name it your hubby.
Tim Mullally, also a trainer.
Phew, marriage saved. Well, I see on Facebook and social media, you and Tim do like to work hard and play hard. And you've been to New York, right? See some plays?
Yes, we recently went to New York. We saw some shows. We ate some good food. We do work hard. We probably on social media post more of the playing rather than the working. So people think that's all we do, but it's not true. We work, like I have 26 calls this week, just lessons in people's homes. And that doesn't include the board and train dogs that we sometimes have here and other things too. So we work pretty hard. Yes.
So how did you get into the dog world? And everyone, she is the past president. Let me get this right. What's the big dog organization?
The Association of Professional Dog Trainers. It's the largest association of dog trainers in the world.
Yes. And she was the president, APDT. I did it right. So you're young Teoti. Where are you growing up? And did you pet a dog and it was magical? And you're like, that is my journey.
Pretty much. I've always loved dogs. And I wasn't allowed to have a dog till I was 12. So it was a delayed buildup there.
Okay.
And it's a Papillon. I've had Papillons ever since. But I wanted to do therapy work with my dogs. I wanted to volunteer. And the dogs I had at the time needed therapy. They couldn't give it to you. They were Shelties and they were very timid. Yeah. So they were not candidates for going anywhere.
But I had Sheltie on a couch going, Doc, have I had a day?
They were seriously. They had lots of complaints to management. But I adopted a 3-legged Labrador who ended up being my heart dog. And I trained him to be a therapy dog and found out I had a knack for it. And it kind of just snowballed from there. I started looking for better ways to train and more positive ways to train. So I found the Association of Professional Dog Trainers and met Dr. Ian Dunbar.
Oh, he's Dr. Ian Dunbar, all y'all. He is a top dog. Yeah.
He really is. He has pioneered a lot of positive training in the country. And I just kind of snowballed from there. I started serving on committees and then I became president. I got my first book deal and it just kind of snowballed from a wonderful 3-legged dog. And I still miss that dog every day.
And who is that dog? What was your dog's name?
It was Cody, my Cody.
Cody. Which leg?
Front left.
Oh, okay. Front left. Okay. So he couldn't be a soft paw.
No.
Sorry, bad joke. I'm a lefty. So that's what I'm saying. But it is amazing. Some dog in our past, our childhood or young adulthood, can really make an imprint, right?
Yeah, he was the trajectory to where I am today, truly.
Well, to you, Cody. You have a few books with your name on it. And one of them I really wanted to talk about, I think your latest one, it's called Ultimate Guide to Dog Training. Can you tell us a little bit what that's all about?
Sure. The Ultimate Guide to Dog Training is pretty much a soup to nuts on how to train your dog. Everything from basic behaviors to more complex behaviors.
Okay. Give me a easy and a hard.
Easy would be a sit. Most everybody
right now, I'm doing it.
Sit. Right. You can't underestimate the sit. If a dog is sitting, he's not jumping on people. If he's sitting, he's not chasing the cat. So sit is a really powerful exercise, but I don't think people actually utilize it enough. And a hard one would be, if you take that same sit and have him sit when people come through the door. It becomes a much harder exercise.
And I'm so excited. I want to say hi. I want to say hi. I want to say, you told me to sit, right?
Exactly. So you can have one exercise that goes through different levels of difficulty depending on what you need it for.
I like it. I like it. You think like a dog. And when I ask you that, what does that mean? Dogs
learn information differently than we do.
Okay.
So, for example, when I talk to you, Arden, you smile and you nod, and maybe you're taking some notes, and you're going to carry that information wherever you go. But dogs don't really generalize like that. So if I tell my dog to sit in the living room, he's perfect. I go to in the middle of a group class and tell him to sit, and he acts like he's never heard the word before. And he's not being defiant. He's not trying to embarrass me in front of the class. It's just that there's so many distractions that it's hard for him to comply with that. Dogs are also visual learners, so they learn hand signals faster than verbal signals. So if you understand how the dog's brain works and the science behind training, you can actually get better results faster.
And what about their nose? How does that play a role in learning?
Oh, that's a tremendous thing because they can smell so much better than we can. Sometimes they don't smell better than we can.
Oh, yeah. You need a bath. Yeah. But you mean their power of their olfactory.
Yes,
did I say it right? Do I sound smart?
Is amazing. And they can smell so much better than we can. So they have much greater distractions. So when you walk out in the neighborhood, you may notice cars going by, maybe a UPS truck or something comes by. Maybe you can hear your neighbors, but he can also smell the neighbors barbecuing 5 blocks away. He can also smell a pretty girl dog who walked by a little earlier, or see, smells the lizard that just, peed on a stump somewhere. So their olfactory system is amazing. So there's a lot more competition for your attention when you're working with your dog outside.
Now, I understand we're going to talk a little bit about adult dogs because you can teach an adult and a senior dog new things, and not just tricks, but behaviors, right? So can you bust the myth that, my dog's 8 years old, forget it?
It's funny because some people have a really big tolerance for problem behaviors. And so a dog's been biting somebody for 5 years. And I always ask, why did you call me today? You've been putting up with this for 5 years. What was about today? And it's usually because the dog bit the wrong person or they suddenly got embarrassed. And they're asking me if it's too late. I'm like, it's never too late. Now you have 5 years of habit that we've got to undo, which makes it harder. It is always better, especially with the problem behavior, to start early. But an older dog, as opposed to a puppy, has a much better attention span. I can get a lot more reps out of an exercise with an older dog, whereas a puppy does, a couple reps and then there's a butterfly and then they're gone. You have to focus. The puppies are very easy. Right, squirrel. So older dogs absolutely can be trained. You just have to understand that you've built up a certain history, whether it's you or the family that had him before. If it's a rescue, there's a history of habit there. And we all know habits are hard to break.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. We're speaking with Teoti Anderson. She is the vice president of A Dog's Best Friend. It's based in South Florida. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to learn about some things that we can do to bring the best out in our adult dogs. And remember, her book that we're talking about today is The Ultimate Guide to Dog Training. So sit, stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Four-Legged Life. I'm your host, Arden Moore, and our guest today, as my cat walks through the screen for all you YouTube video folks, is Rusty the Performer. But we're talking with Teoti Anderson, and we want to get right into it. I'm laughing because this cat likes to walk around my house on my shoulders, so trying to show the dogs that cats can learn too, right?
Absolutely. He looks very comfortable up there. He's very adorable. He
used to be an amazing acro cat with Samantha Martin. So he is a circus cat. So obviously everyone, I don't wear a tail as a earring, but there he goes. Thank goodness. All right, we're back. Teoti, I love that you can break habits just like we can in ourselves. And every case that you get them in person, Zoom. I mean, how do people come to you with their dog issues?
Most of the issues that I get now are in person here in South Florida, but I do consults all over the country. with rescue groups and other things. During the pandemic, I did a lot of Zoom. Yeah. I didn't want to stop dog training, and people got dogs. They didn't hesitate in the pandemic to get dogs.
I need a Bud and a Budweiser, right? That was kind of the mantra during COVID.
Exactly. And so people needed help because people weren't coming to houses and helping them one-on-one. So people reach me, and then every now and then, people will read the books and then reach out to me because my contact information is in there. So they'll reach out to me with specific questions. Some things I can answer. Some things I really have to meet the dog, but I really prefer to do it in person as much as possible so I can meet the dog and meet the person and get a case history and figure out exactly what's going on.
So from the dog's perspective, they're getting out and about, and some of us are going back to our offices, and we have been sharing a couch with them for almost 2 years. They know every Netflix they've been shown. Then they don't grab your remote unless they want to chew it. But what's happening to our dogs now that are quote unquote home while we return to the workforce? Is there any tips you can give us, the do's and don'ts so they don't get full of separation anxiety or pining for us?
We're seeing so much separation anxiety. It's, for a while, nobody went anywhere and nobody came over to visit. Yeah. So these dogs are not socialized. So now people are starting to have family again visiting and friends visiting, and the dogs are aggressive towards strangers because they've never been exposed to that. And also they're terribly upset that you're leaving that couch. They don't want you to leave the couch because you didn't do it for 2 years. Where are you going? Why can't I go?
2 years is a long time in a dog's life, right?
It is, especially when everybody got puppies. So this is all the world the puppy has ever known.
Yeah. So I know my dog, Kona, the terrier, she hadn't seen anybody for a while. And my sister, Deb, walked in and she went bananas like that. Like falling over herself, not aggressive, just, oh my gosh, there's my aunt. And so there's two sides. There could be the one that goes overjoy and the other's like, hey, who are you? Right. So how do we deal with that? Because obviously, you're the expert. What do we do so that we kind of rein in their emotions and build their confidence?
One of the things, and separation anxiety is a huge topic, but a couple quick tips are: one, we have to teach them to self-soothe. Self-soothe.
Okay.
To soothe themselves, because you've been their entertainment for 2 years. You and Netflix been their entertainment for 2 years. And now you're not there. You're not going to play tug with them all day. You can't throw the ball with them all day. You can't go for a walk all day. They have to learn, and they've never been taught that. And that is something that has to be taught. So I like a lot of food stuffed toys.
Okay.
Get them occupied with something that's yummy. I feed most puppies all meals out of a food stuffed toy. I want them to learn to figure out those puzzles, work those brains.
Okay. And you can do that for adult dogs too.
Absolutely. Environmental enrichment. Okay. The other thing that's helpful, especially for a dog that's not full-blown separation anxiety, more like a separation distress. They're starting to get worried. They're not like destroying the door to get away out. Mm-hmm. Not terrible where they're hurting themselves, because dogs will do that too.
Yeah.
Is identify every step you take to walk out that door.
You almost made me want to sing. Every step you take. Dog's going, every move you make. I'll be watching you.
If that helps, then you go sing. So yes, every step. So you're gonna, what do you do to walk out the door? If you were to walk out the door, Arden, right now, would you pick up your phone? Would you grab a purse? Would you grab a water? What do you do?
Yeah, those are cues, right?
Right. And then you do it 10 times a day, but don't go anywhere.
Oh.
So you get up, you grab your phone, you get your water, you get your keys, you walk to the door, you turn around, you put everything back and pretend nothing ever happened and go back to watching Netflix.
And the dog's going, what?
Right. Because your dog isn't just upset when you walk out the door. Your dog's anxiety is starting at those precursor cues for you leaving. I have found a lot of success, especially with minor cases, with that and some environmental enrichment alone, is that the dog realizes, he picked up his backpack 50 times now. He's not really going anywhere. I shouldn't have to get so upset about this.
I like that. It's sort of just making it so that it isn't one thing. I mean, I used to say, do you want to go out? And now I have to spell it. I spelled it O-U-T. And then I have to spell it T-U-O now.
They can learn sounds. Yes.
Because you're on the couch and it's you say something about a show. Oh my gosh, they knocked it out of the ballpark. And my dogs on the couch are going, okay, let's go. And I'm like, no. So you're saying they know words. Come on. They're smart. But they read us, right?
They do. They read us. They're very good. They're visual learners, and they know when you don't feel well. They know when you've had a bad day. They know they're very good at watching us, much better than we are at them. I mean, for someone like me who does that for a living, I watch very carefully, and I can see that the dog is getting stressed, and I can see when they're getting upset. But if you haven't studied that, it's really easy to overlook that anxiety is starting so much earlier. And once I start pointing it out, people realize that, the dog starts licking his lips, and the dog starts yawning, and the dog starts shaking like he's wet, but he's not wet. And he does do all those signs. And those are all stress signs that your dog is building.
Good. Okay. I like that. You are training the two-legger.
Always.
And how do you do that diplomatically? That's a challenge.
I do it diplomatically. It's really fun when people realize sometimes it's the first lesson, sometimes it's the 10th, that, you're training me. I'm like, yes.
But that's fine, right?
Well, it's a team, right? You have to be a team. The dog has to learn, but the person has to learn.
So in your training, do your dogs ever help you show an example? And do you want to give a little shout out to the current pack you have now?
Sure, they're not.
Because they're listening. Come on, they're listening.
They are. There's my husband. He just passed by. I have a wonderful 11-and-a-half-year-old. I can't believe that already. A Belgian Tervuren named Sawyer. Mm-hmm. He's devastatingly handsome.
Oh,
he's a very handsome man. I have a 8-year-old Yorkie. That was our merged marriage. My husband came with the Yorkie and I came with the Belgian. I thought that was kind of funny.
Just like Lady and the Tramp, only 2.0.
Right. And she rules the house. She is 4 pounds and she is feisty and she rules this house.
What is her name?
Rosie.
Rosie. Okay. 4 pounds?
4 pounds of just feistiness. She's hysterical. Liz, this is South Florida, in case you can't tell from behind me. And right. Lizards live in fear of Rosie.
All right, I got you. Rosie's the boss. Well, that's good because they're two different breeds. And when we're talking about the dogs, there are some breed tendencies. But can you tell us why we shouldn't just think all Belgian Tees, I call them, Belgian Tees, are this way and all Yorkies are this way? What's a common that we do when we have a dog that is either a purebred or has mostly one breed?
I think that people sometimes use breed as an excuse.
Oh.
So Belgian Tervurens are generally a little reserved with people. Mine's a flirt. He's an absolute flirt. So there are always exceptions to the breed. But if you have, for example, I used to have Shetland sheepdogs and they can be very reserved and shy. If you have a Shetland sheepdog that is barking and lunging at people because it's terrified, people will go to that breed description and go, well, they're shy. I'm like, no, he's got some fear issues.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse like, oh, bulldogs are stubborn. Well, you just have to train them. I train bulldogs all the time to do all sorts of things. People use it as an excuse. And I think that that's a disservice to the dog.
Oh, I agree. If people want to find out about you, and we're speaking with Teoti Anderson, she is the author of many books, including The Ultimate Guide to Dog Training. How do we do it?
You can find me at teotianderson.com. You can also find me at dogsbestfriend.com.
All right. Any parting message you want to give to our folks?
Just never forget that you can teach an old dog new tricks. You just have to have a little bit more patience with them. Hopefully they have patience with us as well.
I agree. Hey, everybody. That's it for our show today. I want to thank all you pet pals for tuning in all across the country and beyond. And a very special shout out to our stations, coast to coast. And pause and applause to our special guest, Teoti Anderson. So until next time, this is your host, Arden Moore, saying to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there, pause up!
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.